Very good afternoon to everybody. We are back again. Apologies for the technical glitches that we faced last time round. Obviously, we are back with the Instagram live once again. I will, if you'll allow me a moment, I'll just send a request to Mr. Stimac. Yeah. Okay. For those of you who could not join us the previous time, obviously we are restarting the Indian football Instagram lives once again after a long time indeed, and obviously a very special way to restart the Indian football Instagram live, that is with our national team, senior men's national team head coach Mr. Igor Stimac, who we are waiting for at the moment. Um, Obviously, as many of you already know, the senior men's national team is about to play the friendly matches next month in Imphal. Uh, it's for the first time that the matches will be held in Imphal, which obviously makes it a very special moment, special occasion for the city of for the city of Imphal in Manipur. Obviously, Manipur has provided a lot of stars for the national team, and yes, Mr. Stimach has joined us. Welcome, coach. How
Hi,
are you doing?
good afternoon, everyone. I'm doing well.
Good morning in Croatia, I believe, right now.
Yes, nice and quiet morning. It's 8:30 here, so I would say, still early morning. Kids went to school, so we can start this chat in peace.
Once the kids are in school, yes.
Yeah.
Uh, Coach, so obviously we have a lot of questions coming in from a lot of fans and journalists as well. We will come to all of them one by one. Obviously, a lot of the questions are on the national team's matches next month. We will come to all of them, but first of all, the uh, hottest topic in Indian football right now, the Hero Santosh Trophy, is at its business end, and for the first time ever, it will be held outside India, rather in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, starting from tomorrow. So, Coach, if you could tell us how important do you think it to revive the Hero Santosh Trophy in such a grand manner?
It's one of the vital points in our future work to revitalize the trophies like Santos Trophy. It needs to become very soon one of the most important competitions in our country, for the progression of football, for the betterment of football. And I just hope that very soon it's going to become what it used to be once. Playing it abroad will be significant for all the teams which are involved in the final stages of the tournament. I mean, you can imagine how these players are feeling now and their coaches when they're going to come out on the pitches where some of the biggest world stars used to play. Just to run that pitch and have a feeling that one of the biggest stars were there not far ago. It's an amazing opportunity for exposure. It's going to be great infrastructure, and I think this is a great boost for the Santos Trophy and its future.
Coach, so the Santosh Trophy over the decades, rather, has been one of the top tournaments in India, and with a lot of the national team players playing in it, the national team stars, I should say, back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, all the stars used to play, and it's a very unique tournament, which is unique to this country, where all the states compete against each other. It's not the clubs, it's the states. So how special do you think it is? How, in terms of the legacy, in terms of the uniqueness of this tournament?
It's fundamental, I would say, because it's touching the base of what we need to do in the future, unifying all the states in what we are trying to achieve, bringing Indian football back to its strength. And having all states involved, it's an amazing opportunity for all of us to see the quality of talent in all the states, competing between them in such important tournament and coming to the final stage will give us an opportunity to see the best of the best, which we have in all the states.
Um, Coach, obviously a lot of players, if some might come to my mind in the recent times, Sahal, Manveer, JJ, they've all played the Santosh Trophy and come through to the national team as well later on. How important is this tournament as a pipeline to the national team?
I think that you could see what they said about the importance of that tournament when they were appearing here on Instagram and wishing the best things for the players involved in the semi-finals and mentioning how important this Santosh Trophy tournament, how important was to them when they were in young age representing their states, you know, and being involved in the Santosh Trophy tournament.
Obviously, one last question on the Santosh Trophy, coach. Obviously, these 4 teams that have qualified for the semi-finals, they will be playing on what some might call hallowed turfs, where the pitches have been graced by players like Messi and Ronaldo, more of Ronaldo in recent times for Al Nassr. So, how much of a special occasion is it from a player's point of view?
I think I mentioned that already in previous talk. You know, it's a great opportunity. It's going to be great feeling when you know that Messi and Ronaldo were there, and Ronaldo will again be there. Messi most probably also will come one day, if not there. You know, I mean, what else you can have as an opportunity in such good age as these players are? It's amazing, and I wish all of them great participation in the tournament and wonderful football.
Um, Moving on to some questions on the national team, coach. Obviously, next month we're playing against Myanmar and Kyrgyz Republic. How excited is everyone? Be it the staff, I'm sure you've been in touch with the players as well. How excited is everyone to play in Imphal for the first time?
Looking forward very seriously to upcoming games. It's been a long time since we've been together, you know, but all the players were involved in ongoing ISL season, and most of them, I would say, had a solid season, if not good. And it will be difficult for me to choose those who will represent the country now, because competition is better and better from year to year. But we need to appreciate those who shown improvement in this throughout this ISL. Those players who maintained the form since the qualifiers finished will stay as a part of the team. But we need to mention also that it's quite difficult at this stage to go with the final list of the players. That's why I'm going to announce wide list of the players from which the last 25 will be chosen to represent the country against Myanmar and Kyrgyzstan. As you already know, ISL final will be played on 18th, which is making it quite difficult for us. So there is no still final decision, but most probably those players who were involved, who will be involved in the ISL finals, might not be with us this time for these 2 games, you know, because we're going to start our camp on 14th, and we're going to use these 7 days which we have in front of us until the first game to prepare those boys as much as possible for the upcoming friendlies.
Of course, as you're saying, the players who are in the ISL finals might not be playing in these matches, featuring in these matches. So how important a chance does it become for the others to come on and show their mettle, to prove to you that maybe there might be players you could look to for the future as well?
I mean, the greatest honor a player can get is to represent his country, obviously, you know. And as a coach, I need to be very honest to what they do for their respective clubs, how they behave when they are with the national team, how good mindset they are bringing into the national team, and what they provide to the pitch. Because when it comes to the playing under pressure, it's not easy for them, believe me, you know. They already settled well in ISL. They have certain positive mindset. They are showing a good attitude, but when it comes to represent the country, it's a different level of football and different kind of pressure, you know. Much better opponents are there, international players, especially when we play better ranked teams. It's not easy to cope with the different pace of football and against the teams which are at the moment still much better in a ball possession football.
Lots of messages coming in, coach, on the Instagram live. Obviously, to all our fans and supporters, we'll come to a few questions from the fans a
Please.
bit later on in the live. In the meanwhile, I think I spotted a couple of our national team players. Women's national team player Dalima Chibur, I believe I spotted her giving a wave. Also, JJ Lalpeklua, who announced his retirement. Coach, what about JJ? He's had a fantastic career, announced his retirement recently. What about
First
JJ?
of all, it was great to see JJ the other day at the Chennai Marina Arena Stadium. You know, to share a few words with him and enjoy the game, which was brilliant with 7 goals. You know, I enjoyed his company, and as a coach, I need to say, even I didn't have a chance to coach him because he faced that injury which took him away from the pitch. We miss a player like JJ. We miss him badly, you know. We miss someone with his fantastic scoring ability, with his feeling for the football and greatness in the box, you know. So, but I hope these youngsters will be able to replace him in a good way. I have a strong faith in them.
The Mizo sniper has hung up his boots, as they say. Okay, coach, moving on to the next question. Obviously, Manipur will be the host of the national team for the first time. A lot of Manipuri players are a part of the national team, have been a part of the national team. They've supplied a lot of their sons and daughters to the two national teams, men's and women's. So how special do you think it is for them and for maybe Manipur as well?
I would say thanks to mothers and fathers of the Manipur boys who represented the country throughout decades. They are a very important part of our national football team, and we are very happy to have a chance and go there and say thanks to all of them and to share a few days and few good football moments with them. And I hope we're going to find the strength to bring them to victories against Myanmar and Kyrgyzstan. I promise we're going to do our best on the pitch for them. I use this opportunity to invite all of them. I don't have any doubt whatsoever that stadium will be packed on the day, and the boys will be very motivated, definitely, especially those from Manipur, going back home to their homeland and playing in front of their relatives and families and their friends.
Coach, coming to Myanmar and Kyrgyz Republic, what do you think of these opponents, your assessment of them?
No, obviously, in these days you cannot take in an easy way any opponent whatsoever, so we're going to approach both games in a very serious way. We'll try to dominate both games, never mind. Obviously, Kyrgyzstan is far better side with much more quality than Myanmar. They had a good qualifiers also behind them. They have a young, strong, talented team, and it's not going to be an easy game whatsoever. But as I said, from the very first minute, we're going to go into the game with a feeling of a positive mindset, which we're going to bring to the pitch, and we're going to try to dominate our opponents and break them down with continuous attacks.
Coach, obviously one of the main aims for having these friendlies and more later on this year as well is for the team to prepare, for you to prepare the team for the Asian Cup next year. So how far are we in that preparation stage or progress?
I mean, we haven't started that part yet. You know, we have a very hectic schedule, I would say, with FIFA windows and possible ISL following calendar for next ISL season. So what is in front of us is to sit down as soon as possible with all the stakeholders, discuss the future work together, discuss the calendar and its options, because for me as a national team head coach, it's not important what's going to happen in FIFA windows now in March, in September, October, November. The most important part of the preparation for the Asian Cup will be December, if January is confirmed as a calendar for the Asian Cup, which still we're waiting the confirmation on, you know. So I would say that lots of discussion will be going on in the future weeks, about how to handle everything, because as you know, we're going to have September, which is very difficult from this point of that we have FIFA window for senior national team from 4 to 12 at the same time when we have qualifiers for the Asian Cup for under 23. When you have in mind that all our under 23 players are involved with the senior national team, we need to define what is more important for us. For me, as a coach, it's much more important to provide a chance to an under 23 team to do well, because at this age, we already have enough strength to compete with the best teams in Asia. And I would give opportunity to this great generation of the players to be compact, to be in full numbers, but obviously if we expect to do so, then we need to sacrifice senior FIFA window in September. At the end of September, we also have Asian Games, which is going to be difficult to handle in regards to the ISL calendar, which is supposedly starting in September next year, most probably. We don't know yet. So many topics are there to be discussed, to handle well, and we need to find the best possible way how to organize, how to get enough time for the national team preparation just before the Asian Cup. Because as I say, what you're going to do in March, September and October, it's not important at all. The important part comes in December if Asian Cup is to be played in January.
Coach, obviously, as you're saying, December is a key area for us if the Asian Cup is in January. You've spoken about this a lot before as well, long camps, and we saw the results of that in the Asian Cup qualifiers in Kolkata last year. Could you tell us how important, what are the things you work on, or how do you build a team during a long camp? How does it help more?
Listen, we all witnessed what we can do when we get enough time to prepare the boys for the games where you already know the three opponents you're going to face, which are all with different quality, with different style of play and different approach to the game. So you need to practice patterns of the game. You need to have different variations of the system, of the game. And you need to make sure that the best 11 which will go out on the pitch have also enough quality in players coming from the bench, that these players which will be on the bench bring quality onto the pitch when the time comes. So that's why we need time. First, I'm quite sure that we already have those 35 players which will be in this wide list, which these players who were with us in last 3.5, 4 years, they were fantastic. We went through a reconstruction of the team in a very difficult time, throughout pandemic, without possibility of playing enough home games, fighting for our rankings and keeping our rankings safe without losing positions throughout such difficulties, which is very important for the country. Some of the people might look in a way that we didn't go higher into the rankings, but in such difficulties, with such conditions we faced, and going through the reconstruction of the team in a full swing, I would say that we need to be happy, we need to be positive about the future, because now we have the team which has good energy, positive mindset, and very young, talented team. So that's why I have such a strong faith in it.
We will move on to some questions from some journalists across the country who have sent in their questions for you. Sandeep Menon from Deccan Herald, he asked something on these lines as actually. What is the ideal length of a camp for Asian Cup preparation?
It's not as simple as the question sounds. It depends in which phase of the season players are coming to you. If they are off the season, then I need minimum 6 weeks of camp, because first 2 weeks we need to do basic things on a fitness level condition, and only after that we can start working on the patterns of the game. if players are coming to me with a good fitness condition when they are in the middle of the competitive games of ISL season, then I don't need these 2 weeks to prepare their fitness level as it needs to be. We can immediately go and do the ball work and work on the patterns of the game, you know. So it's always different. As you know, the biggest problem we still face is such a short season we are having in India. Although this season changed because of the Durand Cup, which started at the beginning of the season, and now also involving Santosh Trophy and Super Cup after the end of the season. So the number of the games is rising up, but not in a way where it needs to be very soon, because it's not important only number of the games. Quality of the games you play is much more important.
The next question we have is from Mr. Dhiman Sarkar from Hindustan Times, and again Sandeep Menon from Deccan Herald, and a lot of other fans have also asked questions on this line. They have specifically asked for Mahesh Singh and Sivasakti, whether they are in your radar, what do you think of them? And a lot of other fans have also asked about other youngsters in the ISL and in the under 17 and under 20 sides who have done well. Are they in your radar, and what do you think of them?
I think I would say everything if I say that they will be on the wide list of the players involved for the future camps, not only March, but a very important camp is coming after the March, which will be preparation for the June FIFA window and Intercontinental Cup, which is to be played in June, followed by SAF tournament, which we're going to host. So players you mentioned had outstanding season. Obviously, Mahesh suffering a little bit from the position of East Bengal, which they found themselves there. Even this season was better than previous couple of seasons, but we always expect much better things from East Bengal in regards to the sport they have, the greatness of this club, and I would love to see East Bengal much higher on the classification, you know, with the higher strength and more competitiveness. So that would make it much easier for Mahesh. But we need to rate really well and high his performances this season, because having outstanding season with a team which hasn't produced great results this year, it's telling you that he's the player we need to follow. We need to be well aware of his qualities, but the most important thing for him to keep continuity on his performance. You know, shining one season is not enough.
Coach, the next question, the last question we have from members of the media in India is from Ms. Triyasha Chatterjee from the Bridge. Sorry. How would you as a coach approach the situation with the recent dropping form of the usual forwards as seen in the ISL? I'm sure this is a question that has been asked you plenty of times.
Listen, these are the things which bring headaches to the national team coaches. You know, once you settle down with these 20 players, I would say you count with, and then they go to their respective clubs, they lose the quality of performance. They drop down the form. Then you have the problem. Obviously, you need to look for replacements. Which is very difficult, because then you need to repeat all the work which has been done and produced with the mentioned players in previous years. So that's kind of a suffering we need to go through, obviously, because we, as you all know, have players which were a regular part of the national team, and they had below average season this year in ISL. So the question now is there, either to leave them out or try to help them to come to their best form. As a coach, I have one philosophy, and that's that I never approach such situation in a way that I'm going to get rid of the players. I'm keeping faith in the players I recognized at the very beginning, and I will do everything in my power to help them to come back to their best form, which will be recognized in their respective clubs later on.
Coach, now we move on to some questions that the fans have sent us. Dr. Rajat Dubey, he sent a question for you. What are your views on the revival of tournaments like, obviously, Santosh Trophy you've spoken about, the Stafford Cup is currently going on in Karnataka by the AIFF as well as the state federations.
We already spoke about this. This is the vital point of progress of Indian football. Being involved in organizing such important tournaments in our country, revitalizing those tournaments, and coming to a point where we're going to have those tournaments helpful to the national team coach, because I hope in the very near future we're going to have situation where we going to find players in such tournaments which will come and represent the country, although they are not part of ISL teams. This is very important. But the crucial point also there is that we are finding finally a place where we're going to have and see our 17 and 18-year-old boys competing in such important games.
In fact, we have some questions on the 17, under 17 and under 20 boys as well. Any of those players who have impressed you, or any other uncapped ISL players who have impressed you so far, if you want to speak on that?
I'm sorry, I will not go individually on that. You will know everything when the list is announced. It will be a list which will recognize and credit all those who had great performances throughout the past season.
Fair enough, coach. We come to the last question. This is asked by Rudra. It takes you back a few years, more than a few years. What is your best memory with the Croatian national team during your playing days?
Oh, going back a few decades, if not more. Obviously, it was playing at the World Cup, participating there at the biggest stage of football and sharing the pitch with the greatest players in the world, playing against them, winning games, winning bronze medal at the end was a high point of my career, together with some individual achievements I got while playing in the Premier League for 6 years, being so many times in the best team of the league and winning individual trophies and being voted one of the best players in the history of Derby County, which is the club with a great history in Premier League. So, but representing your country place, nothing can replace that feeling, going out, representing your country and winning games for your country and winning medals. That's something which makes the life different.
It's something that every footballer talks about. Every footballer who's played for his country, his or her country. Coach, if I might take you back to one particular instance back in your playing career, handling Zinedine Zidane, the great Zidane, during the semi-final 98 World Cup. How do you do it? Any plans you made beforehand?
You can't make plans when you go out to face such great players like Zidane was. At that time, he was the best player in the world by far, leading France to win the European Championship, the World Cup. I mean, what we need to say about Zidane? And to play against him, obviously, it's not easy, but I was always kind of a player who was very positive in his approach before the games, and whoever was there against me, I was never afraid to step out and do my best to stop him, and that's what I did against Zidane. Also, he was not involved in a way he used to be involved in a French team winning games when he played Croatia, but others stepped up and outplayed us, like Thuram, who prior to that game we played in the semifinals, he never scored one goal in his life, and against Croatia he scored 2. So what you can say?
I don't think he ever scored after that either.
But I mean, when you lose to France, which later on became world champion, winning 3-0 Brazil in the final, what you can say? You need to congratulate them. You need to be happy to be there at that time and win the medal at the end of the day against Holland team, which was by far the best team at that tournament. It was amazing experience by far.
The beauty of a team sport, coach. One player doesn't perform, the other steps up. Others step up. So thank you very much, Coach, for taking the time out to join us here for this live. We wish you the very best, and we are looking forward to the matches in Manipur against Myanmar and Kyrgyz Republic. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. God bless you all.
You too.